Our fifth early stage company, KinectAir, from Vancouver, Washington, is private aviation made public. Affordable, soon-to-be electric aircraft booked from your smartphone using local community airports. Welcome, Jonathan Evans.
Going to be respectful here and get a little timer going on myself, but I probably won't look at it. So I actually flew here directly in a small airplane today on my own timeline over the most beautiful Cascade Mountains that we all love and look at from below and up. And sometimes we hike up them, but I got to fly right through them today on the way here on this beautiful day, and got here exactly at the time that I wanted to that fit in my day, and did it quite affordably. And I've been doing that for 20 years in these small aircraft, and I want to share that with you. We want to open the skies as KinectAir to everybody else that hasn't experienced this joy. And we want to make private air mobility public. And we're going to use these nifty smartphones, these supercomputers we all carry in our pockets that are ubiquitously connected to everything at all times, to give aviation an upgrade that it deserves. So a little bit, my bio helps you understand maybe where KinectAir comes from, so I'll indulge in it for this passing 1 minute right now. I started my first career in the Army flying UH-60 Black Hawk helicopters, and then I continued that job into being a life flight pilot around these parts. And I got to fly over these mountains a whole bunch of times in helicopters that are probably the most on-demand aviation you can imagine in a very analog aviation world. I had my second career in starting a company called Skyward that hopefully some people in this room have heard of. We had some success, and I sat here 10 years ago in the audience looking up at the stage at people and got inspired enough to start my own software company that was venture-backed. We raised $8 million, and we ended up selling a drone operations management company to Verizon in 2017. And I'm happy to say that the 25-person company I sold to them in 2017 is now a 125-person division of Verizon that is, I dare say, pointing the network skyward and connecting drones to it now and networking them in regulated airspace. Which brings me to this third career where brings me in a small airplane to Bend Airport, to this local community, to this place where we've all seen the shift of people's life is moving. It's to the edges. It's like everything in technology, and now it's geography, now it's physical. It's places like Bend where you all live because you can. And it's a little difficult still to go from Redmond to SeaTac to ultimately Atlanta where you're going, isn't it? And it's a little difficult to get to the Bay Area still. But we can provide you on-demand, point-to-point networks of small aircraft flown by senior captains that you could trust like anybody when you walk down a jetway, and at an affordable price. And you can summons that magic power in this little supercomputer in your pocket. That's coming next year, and I want you all to sign up for it, and I want you to see what we're going to build out at that airport to provide you a new node of transit mobility that inspires you to move. And what zooming really means is still moving to where you want to be in the world, when you want to be, in a private format, exactly when you want to be there. So we're going to bring you that.
Awesome. Take it away, Jen.
3 minutes? 3 minutes? 3 minutes?
Listen,
I wanted longer.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you. Hi. There are obviously lots of apps that allow you to book a private flight. I personally want to throw up when I see $25,000 to get from here to, like, Denver, right? It's a lot of money. It's like a car.
Can somebody pull up KinectAir.com and give me the number
so
on
just
that?
like put it into perspective for me, like how much you would charge if it cost me $25,000 to get my family of 5 to Denver.
Bend to, I want to take you to Jeffco.
I would like to go to Eagle.
You want to go to Eagle, you want to go to Vail. That's fine. Let's get Bend to Vail in a Sears could do that job actually, but probably Pilatus.
And tell me more about, while they're doing that, like who this is that's going to be flying the plane and what the plane's going to be.
Who in the passenger or in the front?
Like who's the pilot?
The pilot are very senior captains that are under our operational control, and we will soon have what's called our Part 135 certification with the FAA that we've been bootstrapping a rock star team handpicked from software and aviation to, for the last 2 years, get that certification from the FAA.
And what does that mean? That makes you a charter airline?
Yeah, I'd call us the un-airline because airlines have hubs and spokes and tables of times that you have to conform to, but we're going to bring you in a mesh network to where and when you want to be.
Okay. And you, okay, so those people, the pilots this isn't Uber, they're your employees?
Correct. It's like if we took the great sort of scalable idea of network that Uber represents, but you added the depth of it of any trusted. Actually, let me take Airbnb as the metaphor. It's as though you had the sort of head of the T of scalability of Airbnb and the stem of the T of Marriott. Like you can trust our airline, our un-airline, as much as you can any of the ones you do when you walk down a jetway. Our captains are all very senior, and they're under what the FAA calls our operational control, and we just put it into an app.
And what is the plane?
The aircraft are really where we make it much more affordable. They are state-of-the-art, tried and true, safe and trusted aircraft, but they're in the single-engine, single-propeller category. And that means that it costs a whole lot less to fly from point to point, and quite frankly, it's a lot more enjoyable.
Okay.
So put it into like dollars. Like I've been toying
back
with this.
Back to Eagleville.
Right. Well, even like shorter. So I decide tonight I want to fly to Portland tomorrow, or one of the smaller airports nearby Portland, like the ones Nike uses, or
Yeah, local,
something in
local.
Beaverton.
No more hubs,
So
yeah.
what does it cost if nobody else wants to go with me? I'm going by myself. How do you consolidate multiple passengers onto those time slots if it's last minute?
Well, first of all, just to quote Jen, you can get to Denver on us and with 7 fellow passengers for $7,000.
Oh, that's a lot better than 25.
I think so. It's about $1 a passenger seat mile if you want to look at it. So, and that's if you fill our plane. So we have a 4-seater and we have an 8-seater. The 8-seater is pressurized. It goes 300 miles to a jet's 400 miles per hour. It gets you up and around the weather just like they do. And the 4-seater is the one that you can take through the mountains, not over it, and it's not pressurized and also very affordable. But always sitting next to a very senior captain. And quite frankly, you can ask her about her time flying in Afghanistan, and she'll regale you rather than be hidden behind some locked door and adorned with epaulets. So
She's like for real a fighter jet pilot, right?
well, we've got a few over there. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, my team is definitely handpicked from the best of both worlds of software and aviation.
Are you buying or leasing your planes?
Well, the Airbnb metaphor is best understood there because we're basically using these aircraft, which are the most sort of coveted owned aircraft in the single engine category. And they're the ADUs on our network, right? Like we're the supply side of us is other people's aircraft, and we also have a program we call the Pioneer Program that allows local communities a conduit to investing in causing an aircraft to be instantiated in their personal geography. So a really democratized investment vehicle along who owns the aircraft as well.
I feel like the EDCO team could talk to us for hours about what it's like to get a new flight out of Redmond. This is something that we work on. It's really, really hard, and it's very political. And the FAA gets involved, and there's subsidies, and like, are you just gonna skip all of it?
Yeah, subsidies are a really bad way to build a business, I think. Yeah. Oh, did I just do it? Enough said, right? Like, you have to build a viable business that people pull on the rope from the economy and the market actually needs, and every single one of you needs to get somewhere. Every single one of you. Every single one of you wants to do it with less friction and with trust and safety with a new medical standard in that, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. And quite frankly, I don't like to say all the problems we're solving. I like to say we're going to share the joy of flight with you and put it in the palm of your hand. Give you the ability to summons that aircraft to this airport, not ask for somebody to put in a route at Redmond.
Jonathan,
So I'm going to circle. Can I circle back real
ahead.
quick? Because I really want to know what it's going to cost me to fly to. So $1 per mile. So that's what, $250 to Portland?
For a single seat, if you bought you said you're going to go alone, and so you're going to buy 3 seats in our 4-seater.
So I'm paying $750.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm crying one single tear. Jonathan, I just got my first Alaska
Well
Airlines
done.
card. What happened? Yes, sir, question.
Absolutely.
Do you see the price going down? Okay, so if you see the price going down, what are the ways it's going to go down sustainably?
Well, so the first, just to give you where air charter sits today, so net jets or wheels up you maybe heard of, but anybody that's flying in a jet today, they're paying what we say $10 per passenger seat mile. Back to that number. $10 per passenger, $10 to $20 per passenger seat mile. That's because jets burn a lot of gas to go really fast, and they don't fill the cabin. So an 8-seat cabin on average has 2.5 seats filled in it, right? And 40% of flights are flown empty to rebalance the fleets of on-demand air jet charter today. So an A to B flight almost half the time, or almost 100% of the time, is going to require a B to A flight flown empty, right? So you have empty seats, you have empty legs, and you have tons of gas getting dumped out of the back of these things for speed and way too busy lives, in my opinion. Who wants all this speed? Like, we get it door to door anyway without any of the frictions of a hub and spoke system at 300 miles an hour instead of 4, but it costs you a lot of gas, and it costs you a lot of money to go that fast. And so choosing this category aircraft is the first order of magnitude we can offer on the cost. And anybody that's worked in the general aviation category recreationally knows this is affordable. Like, there are lots of flying clubs and co-ops, and you have uncles that are aviation geeks like me that have like begged, borrowed, and stealed their way into some Cessna so they can fly around for $100 hamburgers on the weekend, right? It is affordable. You just need to have a systematic approach and an industrial leadership into the category where you both understand how to build aviation companies and software companies. It's really hard to do both, I'll say, just from my, background.
Yes.
As a customer who might be more risk averse, but I'd love to take like my girlfriends out to like Denver or something, how would that interaction go? Like, would I need to plan in advance and then book it, or could I just literally go, it's a Tuesday, I want to go this weekend, let's go?
So for the risk-averse customer, what does it look like to plan a trip? Are we
Well,
talking-
was the risk on the booking of the flight or the flight itself? I wasn't sure on your premise there. Oh, the booking risk. Oh, that's easy. Okay, so yeah. So have you ever gone through a user experience like on Airbnb has done this recently? I've seen on some airlines, for example, where they ask you instead of exactly what date and time you want to go somewhere, they say, hey, roughly when, roughly where, right? If you can bracket people into their demand, then you don't have to provide the specificity of those tables of the hub and spoke system, right? And you can use software to organize basically the aggregation of real demand. So that flight out of band, I hope you don't take tonight alone, right? I would hope that, well, you can opt in at the end of our app to say, I'll take the private flight, I'm buying all 3 seats, right? And that's what it's an upgrade. You buy all 3 seats, you take it yourself. Otherwise, we're gonna assume that when you instantiate the flight, we're gonna give you a price that has a probabilistic discount on it based on the idea that we'll fill it with 2 other seats in this room tonight. Even if you instantiate it tonight, our app would say, here's the price. It's an 80% P factor that we can get at least 1 more seat in there. So you get a discount up front, software-based.
Question from the theater, maybe?
We will take it.
Okay, so an SR-22 is $1 million, and a Pilotus is how much? 3 million, 4 million?
Yeah, who's that? I
If
can't
they're
see.
in the
I can't
thea-
see
they're in
this.
We're in
theater.
the theater.
They're in the
So,
theater.
I guess how do you scale the business?
Well, deity from the theater, you seem to know your prices of Cirruses and Pilatuses quite well. Yes, go on.
Well, how do you scale? Yeah, I mean, there's no question the demand is there, the price is right. How do you scale the business with pilot owners at those price points?
Well, we aren't doing pilot owners, sir, sorry. Our Part 135 certificate requires that we have trained, hired FTE pilots, another difference from Uber. We are well on the bright line side of that. We need a training contract every year. We need to send our pilots to simulators. Like, we need to have a relationship with them as we put them on app also and put them into a gig economy-like job for the first time any of them have seen in their career. The ability to be like an Uber driver, but with all the controls, right?
But I'm not talking about the pilots. I'm talking about the aircraft itself.
Yeah, but you said pilot owners, so I want to be clear that we're not recruiting owners and pilots to fly their own airplanes around.
Yes, assuming Part 135 pilots are flying
That's right.
planes, how many planes do you need to scale the business? Because there's almost an unlimited amount of demand for to go just about anywhere.
I agree, and I hope every investor that hears this agrees. There is an unlimited amount of demand for this. The supply side is the hard side, and that's exactly what we're doing. And we model, the optimal level on a mesh network in about 1,000-mile geographic region is about 8 to 13 aircraft. That's when we start to see in Monte Carlo analysis an optimization pattern on what we call the traveling salesman problem, basically. That A to B, B to A fluidity that we need, and we want to never fly an empty flight. That has an optimization pattern that we can model for. And so we are going to market putting 8 to 13 aircraft in the Pacific Northwest right now, 1,000-mile region, and in the Atlantic Southeast. And like I say, some of you can join our beta test group of customers because we do believe we have almost endless demand starting in 2022 here.
Amazing, Jonathan.
Yeah.
Well, you're a very exciting speaker. This is a really exciting idea, so I can't wait to hear more from you. I'm sure we'll see you again. Thank you for the pitch. And you've got a lot of people who want to talk to you, so get hydrated because you're going to be making some new friends.